Welcome again, ladies and gentlemen. This is Byron Bradford coming with the latest news and politics. Um, wow. Again, hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button right there for me, please, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we just came out with news about 2 hours ago. The Supreme Court states immigrants who entered the country illegally cannot get a green card because of the TPS programs. I get more what the TPS is. The TPS is temporary protective status. Okay, and right below this caption it says immigrants in the U.S. under the TPS temporary protective status are hopeful a bill in Congress will give them permanent legal status. This was back in April 2nd. Okay, a unanimous Supreme Court curbed a 30-year-old immigration program for foreign nationals whose countries are ravaged by war or natural disaster. Ruling as temporary protection for deportation doesn't guarantee them a permanent stay. Some 400,000 people, most from El Salvador, live in the U.S. with a temporary protective status, which permits them to remain as long as the government determines they cannot safely return to their home of origin, I guess that is. At issue is the case was whether those immigrants could apply for lawful permanent residence or green cards if they entered the United States illegally. Federal law requires the immigrants seeking green cards to have been inspected or admitted on parole in the United States. A New Jersey couple from El Salvador who lived in the U.S. for 2 decades argued that they met the mandate when they became TPS citizens. Both the Trump and Biden administration disagreed. So this is not a Republican thing, a Democrat thing. Both of these former president and current administration says, no, you do not meet the status. Okay, the TPS beneficiary in the case was not lawfully admitted, and his TPS does not alter the fact, said Justice Atlantic Kagan, who wrote for the court. He therefore cannot become a permanent resident of this country. During the arguments in April, the court conservative majority appeared skeptical of the immigrants' claim. Critics of TPS say the program is intended to provide temporary relief, not permanent residency. Well, if you go back and look at what you think TPS stands for, oh, I didn't know what it meant a second ago, but now it's temporary, people. It's not permanent. It's not PPS with permanent protective status. It's temporary, okay? So I don't see what the argument's about. It doesn't seem to be an argument. I think they're both are in agreement what's going on here. And one of the other justices, I think Brett Kavanaugh stated, we need to be careful about tinkering with the immigration status is written, particularly when Congress has such a primary role here. Brett Kavanaugh said, told the lawyer for the two immigrants in April, you have an uphill climb. And of course, other people argue that successive administrations have already allowed many TPS beneficiaries to stay in the country for decades, permitting them to build roots, business, and families in the United States. Doesn't say it's a permanent status, people. It's still temporary. Yeah, they could stay for 20, but that's probably coming to an end too. So be careful what you ask for. For instance, President George W. Bush granted TPS status to El Salvador in 2001 following 2 earthquakes, and status has been extended or ever since. So again, if it's due because their countries are ravaged from war, political refugees or war, and it states that in the literature there, if it's dealing with war or savage over ravaged country, natural disasters, yeah, we'll take you in, but under TPS status, meaning it's temporary, ladies and gentlemen. It's not permanent. Okay, but of course, you have immigrant advocates note that the eligibility requirements of the program mean it's not open-ended. To be eligible for TPS, an immigrant must prove that they have been in the United States since the designation was made. The Biden administration designated 2 new countries in March, Venezuela and Myanmar, bringing the number of countries to 12. The decision comes months after the Supreme Court ruled against immigrants in another case who lived in the country illegally for 25 years, who asserted he wrongfully faced deportation for using a false Social Security card. Again, just back at the premise of this article here is, I don't see what the argument's about, because they were admitted in the country under a temporary protective status, not permanent protective status, temporary protective status. Temporary, you look in the dictionary. Matter of fact, I'm gonna help you out here. I'm gonna look at, I want to make sure we get this thing right. We get this thing right. Because people seem to have an issue. Temporary. Definition of temporary. Lasting for only limited period of time, not permanent. Lasting for a limited period of time, not permanent. Okay? So it shouldn't, I don't see what the argument is here. Temporary mean, hey, time to go. You know, sorry you built those roots here, but it's time to go, ladies and gentlemen. Again, hit that subscribe button. Have a great day. Stay focused. Find your purpose. Find your passion, and make it happen. Hey, stay tuned. Have a great day. Byron Bradford. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much.